Hey, Scull Goodguy here, and today I'm going to provide an in-depth review of the Razer Kitsune. Just want to put a disclaimer before I start the video. I am in no way being paid by Razer or Capcom to do a review on this device. I spent my hard-earned money on it and I intend to give you a full and honest review. All so you can determine if the Razer Kitsune is worth the investment. This device is currently priced at $300 for the standard black edition, though you can spend an additional $30 on a Chun-Li or a Cammy version if you want something more special. You can also order vinyl wraps for the Kitsune on Razer's website if you want to go that route, but I decided to be lazy and go with the Chun-Li edition. Currently, this device only works with the PlayStation 5 and PC, so that's a bummer. Especially since other leverless controllers like the Snackbox Micro and the Empress work with more than just one console. As cool as these controllers are, good luck getting a hold on one since you'll have to pre-order months in advance if there aren't any in stock. So the Razer Kitsune will probably be the most accessible option going forward for most people. Anyway, the aluminum plate on the base model tends to be a fingerprint magnet, so if you want something that'll show them less, get the special edition instead, or a vinyl wrap. By default, the Razer Kitsune comes in a sturdy box with an eco-friendly design. There's all the basic info you'd expect from an electronics device on here, as well as the other stuff that they're required to put on the packaging. Every Razer Kitsune comes with a 1-year warranty, so that's always good considering that this product ain't cheap. Also has the standard manual, note card from Razer, Razer stickers, just the usual stuff you'd expect from their products. The Kitsune itself comes surrounded with a firm foam that holds it in place, and the top is thick enough so that you don't have to worry about the UPS guy throwing your package around. As a matter of fact, it came very quickly when I ordered it from Razer's website, around 2 to 3 days at most. The Razer Kitsune comes with an all-button layout that's a mix between the default hitbox style layout and the tried and true Vuelix layout. There are the standard 4 movement buttons on the left, with the up button being where either your left or your right thumb will be placed, and the standard 8 attack buttons on the right. Personally, I'm the type of person who uses their right thumb because I think that's most comfortable for me. The buttons all come with really nice plungers for the optical switches that are matte and don't collect a lot of finger oils, so that's a plus. It is powered with a wired connection with a braided USB-A to USB-C cable, which is very nice and has never given me any issues. There's also a cable lock, so if you're at your locals and somebody steps on your cable by accident, the cable won't disconnect from the Kitsune and result in you getting disqualified or anything. Plus your standard PlayStation touchpad, L3, R3 buttons, home button, start, share, stuff you'd expect a PS5 controller to have. There's no turbo features, which is a bummer if you intend to play beat-em-ups or shmups with this device, but hey, it makes it more tournament legal. The Kitsune also has toggles to switch between the PlayStation 5 and PC, as well as a tournament lock, so you can't pause the game or do anything that'll get you DQ'd from your fighting game tournament. The RGB is very minimal and not distracting at all, which is nice because I feel that most cases of RGB in electronics are pretty distracting for me. This is because it's all done with a thin LED layer that's hard to notice when gaming, but you can tell when you watch somebody play with it. I feel that out of all the electronics manufacturers, Razer does RGB the best, so props to them. Since this is a leverless controller, the Razer Kitsune by default has simultaneous opposing cardinal direction settings approved by Capcom Cup. That being, left and right pressed at the same time results in neutral, which means that nothing happens to your character. And when you press up and down at the same time, it also defaults to neutral as opposed to up like the original SOCD standard that has been around for the past decade. Currently, there is no setting to switch between different SOCD cleaning methods like the previously mentioned all-button alternatives. Personally, I feel that it is not a big issue because in most games having up and down defaults up doesn't give that much of an advantage. Unless you're playing Dragon Ball FighterZ, which it becomes a very big deal, but that's besides the point. And let's be real here, it's not a good idea to spam frame perfect flash kicks in matches anyway, so this is not really an issue. All the buttons use Razer's default red optical switches, which are linear and what I assume require between 40 and 45 grams of actuation force. That is, if they are similar to their default optical red switches found in their keyboards. I feel that they do actuate somewhere between 1.0 and 1.1 millimeters, which is 0.1 less than the regular optical red. These switches are very quiet and allow for smooth and fast presses. Personally, I think that they're too light for me, so I switched them out with some other low profile switches since this device allows for hot swap ability. Please take caution when hot swapping your switches because they are a real pain to get out. Sure, getting the plungers off the switches is pretty easy if you take your time, but that's not the case for the switches. I had to wiggle them out with my keyboard switch opener, and I even had some fall apart on me when removing them. And here's what the switches look like deconstructed, so you can pause the video to take a look. There is nice padding inside the switch itself, which aids in reducing noise output during intense gaming sessions. Just note that if you want to lube the switches, you'll have to use a toothpick or something else that's small so you can pry them open. I've not been able to find any switch openers for low profile switches, so hopefully someone will come out with some in the near future. From what I could find, the only real switches available to swap out the default Razer Reds are from Keychron. Links in the description for where you can find other compatible switches. I don't know if Razer will release standalone optical switches for the Kitsune or any other optical low profile keyboards in the future, so I suggest that you take good care of these switches because it's all up in the air. Compared to other controllers currently being released by major manufacturers like Quanba, Hori, and the like, I feel that Razer has released a far better alternative. After all, besides Victrix, there are no major controller manufacturers currently selling leverless controllers, which are now considered the gold standard for fighting games. Don't get me wrong, I love arcade sticks, but leverless is the future. The slim form factor makes this easy to carry around in your handbag or backpack or what have you, so you don't have to lug a big arcade stick on your back. The buttons and switches are responsive and precise. Everything feels premium and worthy of the $300 price tag. The build with the aluminum plate makes the Kitsune feel that it won't break if it falls on the ground or if you rage hard online. The device does not want to seem to work with Razer Synapse, so if you want cool RGB effects that do not go beyond a rainbow glow, then you're out of luck. The optical switches are a pain to remove initially when hot swapping the switches, so if you want to change them out, don't be surprised if you end up breaking the default Razer Reds. Also, there is no carrying case for the Kitsune, so you'll have to spend extra on a small laptop bag to carry it around and protect it. Overall, I'd say that the Razer Kitsune is currently the best mass-produced fighting game controller on the market, and I'd highly recommend it. Whether you're a pro gamer, a Razer fanboy, or just someone who wants to give their kid an awesome present, you can't go wrong with the Razer Kitsune. Remember to support your locals, make your bed, eat a vegetable, and I'll see you next time. GG's.